Good afternoon, everyone. I want to wish you, first of all, Happy Earth Day, Happy Environment Day, and it's a very good day to remember, what we are doing to protect and to make sure that we leave back a beautiful earth for our next generation. And now I'm here today because I have with me a very, very special guest, a gift, something that India has to offer. The first Miss India, Meher ma'am, and she has been such an icon, and she's been very, very prominent in the fashion industry, and she's won millions of hearts, and she's done so well. And we're going to bring her on here, and we're going to learn a lot from her. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi, how are you, Adline? Great to see you.
It's such an honor to have this chat with you.
Yes, I know. Two Castellinos together.
Yes, I got it.
And the last.
Whether we are relatives.
Yes, I also wanted to know because you have the surname with a single L. So, and we both have it with a single L. Where are you from?
I'm from Mangalore, Udupi.
Oh, okay. That's where my husband was also from Mangalore. Yes.
Okay. So maybe we are connected somewhere.
Yes, yes. Tell me.
So how's your time going on right now?
Oh, it's good. I've been quite busy. In fact, I had a Zoom meeting in the morning and now I have this in the afternoon. So it's been great.
Amazing. And I know a lot of people watching us, they have a lot of questions for you, especially one thing, that they want to know during your time when fashion was something that people never spoke about. And, the families used to never allow their girls to participate in. So how, when you decided, did you always wanted to be Miss India or something that you had to decide and convince your parents at that time?
It wasn't difficult to convince my parents because I was already an Indian dancer and I had performed on stage. So
Yes.
that part was quite, okay. I did, like all girls, I'm sure when you was young also, you were, dreaming of becoming a beauty queen and people sort of commenting on how pretty you were. So I did have those little ambitions, but I never knew that they would turn into a reality. And fortunately for me, they did. And fashion modeling, beauty queen wasn't such a big deal in 64 or in the 60s, as you would say. There were about 5 models before we started, and there were 7 models when we started. So it was quite
Wow.
a small family, yes.
That's amazing. And how was the contest at that time? What were the prizes that you used to get?
Well, if you're talking about the Miss India contest, nothing. The prize was the ticket to go to Miami Beach, Florida for the contest. And of course, there was one brand which was very sweet, as you must have heard, Hero Cycles, who gave me a ladies' Hero Cycle model. And unfortunately, I don't cycle. So I just looked at it and felt very thrilled that I got at least one prize from a sponsor.
That's amazing. How were your preparations for Miss Universe that time? Who helped you prepare?
Yeah, the preparations were purely to think on your feet because neither did Femina know what the contest was about, neither did I know what a beauty contest abroad would be like. So preparing the garments, preparing the wardrobe, the makeup, the hair, everything had to be done by us. And I remember we went to our local darzi at Fountain, Flora Fountain, and got some salwar kameezes, blouses, and I took lots of saris because I always felt that, if you're in a sari, then you stand out and you can, sort of be really outstanding amongst all the Western dresses that are there. So I took a lot of saris, I took a lot of salwar kameezes, I took mainly Indian outfits. I didn't take any dresses at all. Yes. And it did work because when there was a lineup and we were going out for dinner or something important, I had a sari on and the cameras would, be very interested in what I was wearing.
That's amazing. So pageantry is completely changed, you feel, from then and now?
Oh, God, yes, yes. become absolutely unbelievable, especially all the training that you girls get, and you're really very fortunate because
Yes.
you know, you've seen what happened before you and you know how to follow it and improve on it. But I didn't have anyone to see before me or tell me, neither did Femina know anything about it. So it was just like, plunge into the deep end and learn how to swim. That's all that I had to do.
That's amazing. Do you have a fond memory of Miss Universe or Miss
Oh,
India?
lots of fond memories. Oh, there were so many, some funny, some fun, some really memorable. Of course, the first one that I remember and have to remember because that was the main one. I had taken an evening gown, which I thought was fantastic. It was a very slinky fishtail gown created by my poor Darzi, who did a pretty good job. And when I landed over there and I saw, by the way, this Miss Universe contest in 1964 was
Yeah.
totally different from all other contests. It was a contest where the Miss USA 1964 and Miss Universe 1964 was selected at the same time. So first Miss USA was selected and she came into the Miss Universe contest. So
Okay.
yes. So because the organizers wanted the international girls to know what American girls are like and the American girls to know what international girls are like. So we could exchange uh, topics. So
Oh,
my roommate was Miss Michigan, and she was a lovely girl. And fortunately for me, she was exactly my size. So when I saw her wardrobe of gowns, she had 4 gowns to choose from for the big night. And I looked at my gown and I looked at her gown, and I was like nearly in tears. So I asked her, requested her if I could wear one of the gowns for the night. She said, after I've selected, you can pick any of the others. And she selected hers. She took a pink one, and there was a white, there was a blue, and there was a lemon. I took the white one. It was absolutely fabulous. It had these rhinestone straps, long green emerald satin sash around the waist, and I was feeling so thrilled that I blessed her and blessed her and blessed her.
wow. That's such an amazing thing, for her to actually. That's
Yes,
an
she was.
amazing story. Have you said this before?
Sorry.
Have you said
Uh,
this story before?
I have vaguely said it before, but I mean that this is my favorite, and we became so friendly. And the wonderful part was she was exactly my size, height, measurements, everything. So I didn't have to worry about the gown fitting me or not. Yes.
And talking about, as you just spoke, there have been there's been an evolution on beauty standards and body shapes. So give me a window into that during your time and what do you think is, happening right now?
You have seen the photograph of mine in the swimsuit, and you can see that I'm not exactly over 5'9" or anything. I'm not sort of toned muscular. Uh, that figure, which was required in those days, was very soft, gentle, molded, but not muscular or toned.
Okay.
That was the figure. I mean, you can take, say, Marilyn Monroe, for example.
Um,
Marilyn Monroe's figure was fantastic at that time. People loved her, thought she was so hot. But now they might think she is a little, too curvaceous,
Not toned.
not toned at all. No, no. So that's the difference between the figures. But as each decade goes, you see that the figures keep changing. If you go before in the 18th century or the 17th, the women were even more rounded and more voluptuous. But now
Right.
it's lean and slim.
So then you'll obviously see differences in Miss India's from then and from now. What are the most prominent changes, and what do you feel is the one thing that sticks for all Indian women, all Miss
Uh,
India?
I would say that the difference between the Miss Indias and the contest itself, the girls in the 60s and 70s were totally untrained. Just like me, when we went abroad, we went with who we were and depended on our personalities. But
Right.
now it's completely different. Everybody is trained, groomed, uh, taught how to speak, walk, which is very good because the competition is pretty tough over there. And a lot of girls come with a team of workers like PR person, hairstylists, makeup people, costume designers, everything.
So you think this is a good thing, or you feel that, somewhere we're losing the real beauty, the real authentic
I
beauty?
would say if there was a middle path, that would have been good. Keep the girl's personality and allow that to shine through. Now, I see everybody has long hair. Uh, Even abroad, most of the girls have long hair, which is fine. But if short hair suits the girl, then why not have it? We had Miss Japan who had very short hair, Miss Okinawa who had short hair. Then, of course, there were others who had long hair. One of the runners-up in the contest, Miss England, she had a short bob.
Oh wow, there's so much variety in beauty, and that's
Yes,
amazing.
yes.
If you feel that there's one quality of a Miss Universe that has been eminent from the time, what is that one quality?
I think it is the personality and the freshness and being yourself, not being artificial, not being, put on, not being an assembly line product, not being, groomed to parrot certain lines, just being normal. Like Sushmita, she was herself. Same with Lara Datta, she was herself.
Absolutely, ma'am. So, how did you feel when you heard Sushmita ma'am winning and Lara ma'am winning in their
Oh,
respective years?
it was fabulous. It was such a big thing. And I remember, interviewing Shushmita before she went for the contest. It was a story on how she maintains her figure and her diet. And she just won me over. So I can imagine she must have won the judges over here in India as well as in the US. She had that quality, and she has that quality where she makes the opposite person feel like a queen. And that is what makes her a queen.
Wow, that's amazing. That's lovely. How did your parents feel when you won, the first Miss India contest?
They were very happy, but they were also a little apprehensive because, since I was the first one and they didn't know what I was supposed to do, I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and neither did Femina know what I was supposed to do. So it was adventure for everyone, all three of us.
So when you now, because you've been, such an eminent um, person in the fashion industry, how do you think fashion has evolved in our country? And what's the one thing we as Indians should learn to keep about our culture, about our fashion, our textile?
I think the fashion business has grown by leaps and bounds in India. From the normal cornerstone darzi who was creating garments, we have qualified very, very creative designers who are making fantastic clothes. And of course, the one thing that makes Indian garments and fashion so distinct is also our textiles and our craftsmanship. Nowhere in
Absolutely.
the world have I seen such beautiful, intricate craftsmanship as I've seen in India. And sometimes when I look at it, I wonder, is this done by a human hand or is it just,
Magical.
it's magical, it's fabulous. Yes.
So, did you have national costume round in Miss Universe that time? Did you wear
Yes.
something traditional?
Now, the national costume round was exactly what it says, national costume of the country, and not the fantastic, elaborate, extravagant clothes that you see for the costume round. So Indians wear sari, so that was my national costume. Miss Japan wore a kimono, that's her national costume. Miss Okinawa, Miss Korea, each one, Miss Holland, they all wore whatever they were at home or in their country.
In the
Now,
country.
yes, now of course it's become crazy. I mean, the costumes are so fantastic that I wonder how did they carry them in the airplane to bring them to the contest.
I heard once one costume was airlifted and brought to the contest. That's
I'm sure,
amazing.
I'm sure because I've seen huge elephants walking out, and I've seen huge flower baskets, and oh God, I love to see them to see how extravagant can they get. What could be the limit for pushing their creativity?
Absolutely, ma'am. And you've been someone who's so passionate about fashion. I've heard many times, it started from a very young age. Even when you were 6 years old, you used to take your mom's clothes and used to. Can you give us a window into that, into your love for fashion?
Yes, I don't know. I remember my favorite comic book. You know, everyone at that age had Archie and all. My favorite comic book was a comic character called Katie Keene, who was a model, yes, and a model and a fashion plate. And in
Oh,
that comic, there would be these paper dolls where you cut out the Katie Keene figure, cut out the clothes, and put them on her. And I had the full collection of Katie Keene, and I would cut them out and make her wear it. And then, of course, I thought that I could design the clothes that she was wearing. So if I found some piece of cloth or some rags hanging around, then I would wrap it around, you know, dress myself up with something on my head and something on my around my waist. And my father was an amateur photographer, so
okay.
he was happy that I posed for him, and I was very happy I got a
So
photographer free.
sweet. That's amazing. And did you receive a lot of media attention when you won?
Sorry. Uh,
Did you receive a lot of media attention when you won Femina Miss
uh,
India?
that is a question which is going to surprise you with the answer. There was absolutely no publicity in India. Whatever publicity I got was when I was in Miami. And of course, just before the contest, Hindustan Times, Amrita Bazaar, those papers. But the Times of India did not mention even a single word that a Miss India selected by Femina was going for the Miss Universe contest. Because in those days, the news of a beauty queen or a beauty contest was considered very frivolous and not something that one should report in a mainstream broadsheet paper.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's interesting now.
So the only article I got after I came back was in Femina, obviously, and publicity with pictures and whatever I had. But there was a lot of publicity in the media in Miami Beach, and you know, all types of little things. If I did something, then I would be photographed. Or I remember this very funny story where they took us shopping in one of the stores because the various people, various public companies would invite beauty queens. So one of the big stores where we were shopping, and I always wore a bindi with my sari. And there was this little boy, and he came up and he said, "Your forehead's bleeding." So, no, that's a bindi. So I just mentioned it to someone in the organization, and the next thing it was in the papers. Miss India's forehead is bleeding, said the little fellow. So, you know, you're supposed to try and get as much publicity as you get to get into the papers.
That's that's a very funny story.
Yeah, yeah,
How it
very
was
cute.
first.
Yeah.
But at that time, there wasn't exposure into Bollywood. Were you drawn to that at that time?
Now, that's another surprising fact. After being a beauty queen, if the winner went into Bollywood, it was considered a step down. She could be a model. She could be whatever she wants to, you know, in her profession. You know, there are doctors and lawyers and media people. But to join Bollywood was considered not, you know, something that people approved of. Of course, Persis Kambata, who was Miss India 1965, was part of Bollywood. She did her first movie here before she went to Hollywood. But the whole Bollywood thing started when Zeenat Aman became winner of Miss 70 and joined Bollywood and proved that, beauty queens can also act.
Wow. I know. There are a lot of girls that aspire to become Miss India still because the legacy that you started, it's continued for so many years. Is there something that you would like to tell them?
A sort of a legacy in what way, Adline?
I mean, you started the legacy of Miss India, and it's been continued for years.
Yes.
And so, what is something that you would like to say to your Miss India aspirant?
I would say that it's a great thing to win the crown, and it's your chance to present your country abroad in the most positive manner and tell the world about all the wonderful things that are in India, all the wonderful opportunities, the beautiful country, what it has, its crafts, its textiles, its architecture, its temples, and of course its people, which are the most friendly and most lovely people.
That's amazing. That's a very fortunate girl that gets the opportunity to actually have a chance to represent their country and the beauty of their country. So we're very grateful for that.
Yeah.
Miss Universe has given us, has given us a lot of women to look up to. What is that one suggestion that you would like to give me? So that we representing India as Miss Universe, and this is such an honor that I'm getting the advice from you.
Yeah. I think you're going to do a great job because you have all the qualities of being a beauty queen, and you have to have your head on your shoulders firmly placed. And I think you should just be yourself. There are a lot of contestants who come with the intention of grabbing the crown. Grabbing is the word, or getting that crown by hook or by crook. Be yourself, be normal, enjoy and make lots of friends because you get an opportunity to meet maybe 70, 80 girls from around the world, and show how wonderful Indian woman is.
Thank you so much. That's such a lovely advice. As saying of friendship, who's that one person? I mean, I'm sure Miss must be someone who's close to your heart, but who are the other friends that you met during your Miss Universe? Do you still talk to them?
Well, I was in touch with Miss Michigan, who was my roommate, and I was in touch with Miss Massachusetts because we were like, the M's in alphabetical order, you sort of come together. And I was friendly with Miss Japan, though we had a language problem. I tried to understand her Japanese, she tried to understand the English. And even Miss Okinawa. The Far East girls, the Eastern girls, we normally were, together. So it was a great time, yes. But I have lost touch with them, I'm sorry to say.
I know, over time, like...
Sorry.
That's amazing, ma'am, and thank you for sharing so much of your journey with me, because it means you've almost lived that life. You've given so much, and you've become such an eminent person in the fashion industry. You've shown other girls that what Miss India's can do. What does Miss India as a platform has given to you? What's one thing that you say that Miss India as a platform has given to you?
I would say that the Miss India title definitely opens doors for you. And when that happens, you have to grab the opportunity. There can be so many things that will happen for you, and you can get chances in various assignments, whatever your future plans are. In fact, I was going to ask you, what are your goals if you win Miss Universe, and what are you going to do? What are you planning to do?
When I win Miss Universe, it will be something that I aspire to travel all around the world, meet people of different cultures, help them on an international level. It will be a dream of mine, and I've always aspired to be a businesswoman, a successful businesswoman. I don't come from a background of that, because for me it's a huge thing, and this is something that's actually making my base and helping me get there and help other people also. This means a lot to me.
What sort of a businesswoman would you like to be? I mean, what business is here in your mind?
So I'm interested in agro business. I come from a family of farmers, and they have been into agriculture. And because of a lot of problems at home, like they had to stop it. So I'm really happy that I'm getting a chance to continue that. And I feel that agriculture and farmers are such an important part of our country. People talks about them. So this is a very good chance for me to bring that out. I lost my grandmother at the age of 30. She was 22, and she was a proud farmer, but she was not able to afford medical health for herself, healthcare for herself. So, for me, this really meant a lot. And Miss Diva as a platform gave me so much because I was able to tell the story of my grandmother. I always had this thing that, nobody knows her, nobody knew her struggle. And when I was on Miss Diva, I was able to say to a lot of people, watched it. So that made me really, really happy. And I believe the power of this platform. If you have something to tell people, it really reaches all of them.
You don't have any Bollywood aspirations, Adline? No movies?
No, not as of yet. I don't think I fit.
Oh, you'll be the most glamorous farmer that India has ever had. And that's a great achievement.
I would love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. You have these fabulous clothes that are created for you. What sort of preparations have you done for the contest?
So we are having preparations on. We usually prepare on the walk, the way we speak. But thankful. I'm really thankful for our lovely team for helping that even during these times, for arranging, speech classes, for arranging walk classes, styling classes. It really means a lot. But on a very personal note, I'm somebody who really likes journaling. At the end of the day, I sit with myself, I write my thoughts. Because I feel that I've been given this whole chance of a journey, of a lifetime, where I can evolve as a person and I can, provide so much to people and to myself, my family. So I'm trying to make the most of this and I'm trying to really elevate as a human being, as a person.
Definitely, because this 1 year is going to be the most memorable year of your life and you're going to cherish it. And even beyond that, you are going to have so many opportunities that you will be able to pick and choose. So what is your final gown going to be like? Who's doing that? Unlike me, who had to go to my friendly neighborhood tailor.
Interesting story. Has been the truth for so many years. And since after that, we are really grateful that we are held by the team with the gown. But as of yet, we haven't finalized the things that are happening around us. We are working on the vision. We're working on what we want to create on the stage, and what we want to deliver.
I always remember, or I always feel that if I had won it, in the more recent times, which designer would I select, to make my gown? And, I would have definitely selected only one designer, and that is Hemant Trivedi. He has the lucky charm and the creator of the most amazing garments for all the winners, right from Aishwarya to Shushmita to Lara Datta to Dia Mirza to Priyanka Chopra. His gowns are such that they make a woman look like a queen. They are sexy, elegant, and at the same time very sophisticated. So I would have picked him as my designer.
Wow, that's amazing. I hope we have. I wanted to ask you, because in recent years, when you have your evening gowns, so now they changed it to evening gowns. How important it is to show a culture of where you belong from, to show India in your evening gown? How important it is? You feel?
That would definitely keep you in the limelight, because if you have some beautiful textiles, and we have so many to choose from, and beautiful work, crafts work, you will definitely be outstanding. Yes. So I think along with the shape of the Western gown, a bit of Indian textiles and embroidery will enhance the look of the garment.
I agree, ma'am. I definitely agree. I know, and the fact is that I want to be able to show as much as I can about India, about India's textiles, culture, because we have so
Yes,
much of richness here. We stand out as a country.
yes, yes. In fact, I think your wardrobe should consist of only Indian textiles. You can have them made into Western garments, and of course, our crafts, the embroidery, the texturing, and everything.
So, by your blessings, I'll take your blessings during my journey, so I'm able to really represent India and do India proud.
I'm sure you will be a success. When is the contest, Adline?
So they haven't disclosed it yet because of the conditions that are happening all around the globe, but I'm sure they're going to disclose it soon.
Okay. But where is it going to be? Any idea which country? No,
No,
not
not
yet.
as of yet. Yes.
Do you know a bit about the Miss Universe history? When it started, it'd be interesting to read about it because the Miss Universe contest has come a long way.
1950,
Yeah,
1952.
yes, that's right. That's right. 1950.
And I want to ask you, I'm so sorry I forgot this question. It's very important. So when I had to get into, we have a swimsuit round, and it was very hard for me to convince my parents. I didn't even tell them. So I want to know, during your time, was it equally hard?
No, it wasn't difficult at all. To convince my parents, no, not at all, because as I said, I was already modeling before I went for the contest, and I was modeling swimsuits on the ramp and beach wear. So that wasn't a problem at all. And during our year, the swimsuit round was a one-piece swimsuit, not the bikini that we have now. In fact, the bikini was completely banned in the Miss Universe contest because it gave an unfair advantage to the girl in a bikini compared to a girl in a one-piece swimsuit.
Oh, okay. I didn't know this.
You see more of the girl in the bikini.
During your time, there was a lot of feminist ideas. They found that beauty pageants were they were anti-feminist. So what is your take during that time? Did you feel the same?
No. During our time, that wasn't prevalent. 60s, 70s, no. A little later, I think in the 90s, that problem cropped up. Yes.
Started.
We had the Miss India contests all over India. So in 1965, the pageant actually started after I came back and I told them how it was and what were the rounds, etc., etc. So the next year, that's 65, when Persis Kambata won, we had a contest in Mumbai, Delhi, Calcutta, and Bangalore. Then every year, a different and new city was added on till we even had one in Srinagar, Miss Srinagar.
Oh wow, that's amazing, ma'am. And I got to learn so much today, thanks to you. And thank you for sharing your insights. Thank you for sharing your experiences. And I take your blessings in my journey, and thank you for sharing your time today.
I wish you all the very best, Adline, and I'll be watching the contest and watching you more than any of the other because I now know you have spoken with you, and I'm sure you're going to do India proud.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am, for joining us. Thank you, viewers, for joining us. You have a nice day.
So much. Thank you.